Cool.
Alrighty. Get that restream.
Move that mic down just a bit. Adjust mine balls. Prepared. Did you stream more little? Oh no, that's just because your archive went live this morning. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Nah, I would not be able to podcast at this point. I would just be sitting in a corner chanting to myself.
Wondering why this game is getting 9s everywhere. 10s. I mean,
come on, Breath of the Wild got a 10. This is no Breath of the Wild.
It is no Breath of the Wild. It's not deserving. Like I said, maybe a 7. Maybe
it's a social experiment.
It's just a social experiment. It's just a prank, bro. It is just a prank.
Alrighty. Oh, you know what we can do if it's important to you? No, your YouTube is good. You've got a good YouTube. I can just upload from my Twitch to your YouTube so you can have the archive.
That, or you can just when this video archives on YouTube, you can just set its there's a setting you can go to and just turn it to Creative Commons, and then I'll just be able to literally hit a button to pull it from your YouTube channel to mine.
Yoink.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can't remember what that option's called, but it's.
I think it's called Creative Commons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the attribution settings for how you want your video to be treated copyright wise.
Can you make like a little YouTube alert to like let people know like, hey, today's podcast is actually on another channel?
I posted it on my Discord server on the homies.
I forgot all about
everyone who usually sees has now seen.
Nice. Okay, so I guess I'll just start playing this.
Right on. So yeah, I'm a little surprised though, Nate.
Why's that?
I'm just a little surprised that you decided to play more Minecraft, to spend more money on Minecraft for another console rather than play your brand new game.
What, Little Inferno? Or I mean, Little Inferno. That's actually correct. Little Nightmares?
I mean, technically both are correct. It is both a nightmare and an inferno. But I was talking more about Night in the Woods.
Nah, I don't want to. I want to play those clean. Just like do a series.
Yeah, you've been doing pretty good with those. I watched episode 5 last night. May's kind of a dick.
May is kind of a dick, but you know, she's the only dick you've got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she is definitely the only dick you've got. So I can agree with that. But no, I wouldn't ask you to play more Little Nightmares, even though it's kind of like the indie darling going. Actually, is it an indie game? Because it was like partially published by like Bandai.
Bandai Namco, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird. Like that's not the type of game I was expecting to see from Bandai.
Yeah, I have no idea, dude. Like I would love to say that the reason why that game is so sloppy is just because like, oh, it's this developer's first game or whatever, but I mean Bandai Namco clearly had some form of hand in it, so
yeah. And I don't know, you know, it's such a weird dichotomy between really interesting aesthetics, like really creepy world building, and like what looks like it's going to be a really interesting overarching story when you finally find out what's going on in there, but it's just headed off by like some super mechanically clunky, sometimes really frustrating platforming gameplay that really needs some polish.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with it. It's just like the direction is especially terrible. Like there's so many times where I was looking dead-eyed in the puzzle, looking straight at the puzzle. I should have known exactly what to do, and instead I was led to believe that there was more to it than there is.
Yeah, because they would throw in elements and present a room like it had a specific way to solve it, and then the solution that you think you have is completely incorrect. Turns out the solution is literally just run past the enemy in the room. That's it. Treat it like a Sonic game. Just keep holding right and run past everything. And I thought that was a major direction issue because it happens so many times where you're sitting there trying to figure it out, like, okay, so there's a thing in this room, some kind of super weird monster. I want to get away from it. I want to move on to the next room. What do I have in here? Okay, there's a couple places to hide. There is a little monkey on the floor that you can throw to make noise. Okay, obviously I'm supposed to lead this thing away with the monkey. And so you keep trying that and you keep getting caught and killed and having to start over. And eventually it's just like, oh no, the solution was just to ignore everything and run.
Yep.
It's like, what's the direction there? Why even put the monkey on the floor there then? It doesn't serve any purpose.
There have been a lot of things like that, and there's also just like general control clunkiness. Like
it's definitely a clunky game.
So rather than having like an auto climb, your character has to grab onto surfaces to be able to like climb up them. So like, say there's a block and it's about head height. If I jump up and I don't clear the block and land on it, then I have to grab onto its edge to climb up it. But that doesn't work very well. Like, very often I have like grabbed on and my character does like a little short hop over and over and over again, and usually that leads to a death because something's undoubtedly chasing it.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest problems that I saw when you were playing. So I was watching you stream it last night, and it was frustrating because you obviously see where you're supposed to go next. Like, okay, I'm supposed to climb up this file cabinet piece by piece, but like you're jumping at it, and it'll only allow you to latch onto the ledge and pull yourself up at like a specific angle. When it's like it should have been automatic, and it just makes for an unnecessarily clunky experience that, like I said before, just really creates some really frustrating encounters there. Especially when you're running from something and that something catches up to you very quickly.
But besides all of the bad, and there's a bit of bad, but I mean the game is jaw-droppingly gorgeous, like phenomenally detailed and polished. The art style is fantastic. The characters in it are mysterious and really, really spooky. Like, one of the big enemies that I'm fighting right now, or fleeing from, is he's this like he's a blinded, long-armed, short-legged guy. It's almost like someone took all of his legs and put him
in his arms.
Yeah. You okay, John? You sound like you're kind of passing out.
No, fine.
Okay. And yeah, like his whole deal is like he's blind. He can't actually like see you. He can kind of smell you, I guess. He does like a quick like sniff when he detects you. But yeah, you have to just like kind of maneuver around him. But like we were saying before, the game very often puts like puzzle solving elements in your path, so you feel as though you're supposed to like trick him, but you really can't. You just have to run past him and pray he doesn't get you.
Yeah, which is the weirdest thing, because like you said, it puts little puzzle paths in your way, so you think, okay, there might be a way to lure this guy out. And really, no, there wasn't. I remember specifically when you were under the floorboards of one room, and he was in like this doll room, which also, this is also going to show that the AI can be quite limited in this game. It's the AI is very, very limited in certain senses. Mm-hmm. But you were underneath the floor, and so you're thinking, okay, obviously, since I can traverse under the floor between these three rooms, it's showing me that I have to get him out of that final room with all the dolls so that I can get in there and make it through the little path that leads into the next area. And then there's multiple little monkeys around that you can pick up and throw to make noise. And this thing, it works by hearing you. It's blind, it can't see you, so it works by hearing your footsteps or hearing the noises that go around. And by the way, there was a great puzzle, I think it might have been earlier than this room, where you're in this like room filled with grandfather clocks, and one of them falls down and breaks, and like every 30 seconds or so it just starts chiming. And when it's chiming, he can't hear anything. You can see he's actually in pain because of how loud it is, and you're supposed to go through that room slowly but wait for the chime to start so that you can run across. I thought that was great. I wanted more of that. But and that really should have culminated in this under the floorboard doll room. But no, you kept trying to grab the monkeys and lure him away with that, and every single time he would just run straight to you, ignore the monkey, and grab you. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that the solution was literally just sit underneath the floorboard, in the second room, wait for him to walk to that second room, because he's also hard coded via AI to, even if he doesn't hear you, if you head into the doll room, he just immediately goes to the doll room and sits there forever, which I thought was really dumb.
Yep.
That was bad direction and bad AI design for something, because it completely breaks that immersion. You're supposed to be rewarded for being quiet by having an easier path through. But nope, once you hit that doll room, he just immediately goes in there and starts auto-searching, even if he didn't hear you.
Yep.
It's like, come on, game, come on.
That's not to mention the part where you're stuck in an elevator with him, and you have two options. You can either cling to the wall, which is what I did, and he won't be able to find you, or you can hide in a little box that, for the record, he totally puts his hand in, but still doesn't get you if you hide in it somehow. I clung to the wall.
That was frustrating.
The wall turned out to be a door. The door opened. I fled through the door, and then because that's not how I was supposed to solve the puzzle, I teleported back into the guy's hand, and I died.
Like, you should find that clip and cut it and make it its own video, because his use of the Force, he is truly a master. We both grant him rights to the Jedi Council and the title of Master, because that dude can use the Force, and that's what's frustrating about it. The game presents a bunch of options, and for everybody who doesn't really understand what we're talking about the new indie platforming darling Little Nightmares. The game presents all of these different rooms that look like they have more than one solution. And what happened there, I thought, was a beautiful example of this game showing really how limited it actually is. Like you said, there's a box in that you're supposed to hide in. That's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. What you wound up doing was jumping and crawling up the wall, which worked just as well. That should have been a perfectly viable solution for you to just crawl up the wall and stay there where he can't really reach you, because he doesn't really look in that wall. And that should have been a perfectly viable solution, so that when the door opens, you can just drop through and go through. But because it wasn't what the game wanted you to do, because it didn't hit whatever little trigger the game had in its coding, as soon as the door opened, you dropped off the wall. You were super far away from him. You were clearly ahead of Monster Arm Man. You went through the door. It immediately triggered a death screen. You literally floated up and floated back to his hand, where he was already in the middle of his death animation for you. And it was like, you went through the door. The game was just slapping you, saying, hey, that solution worked, but you're not supposed to do that. So go back and do it right.
Exactly.
Like, no, Little Nightmares. That's not how you do good platforming. Don't present a game with multiple options if only one option is viable. It just it was a frustrating experience, even watching you.
It was, but just so everybody's clear, I did still thoroughly enjoy myself playing that game. The experience is totally worth it. There are sites giving it 9s and 10s. I don't know that I can necessarily go that far, but I definitely recommend you play it if you're interested.
Yeah, and like we said, the aesthetic is incredible. The character design is creepy and weird, with the leeches and the weird little gnome things that are running around all over the place, and the people look super freaky. And it's just, it creates a wonderful atmosphere. It's a very atmospheric game, and that it's wonderful in that sense. The sound design is great, and your character's design is great. But it's just it's a clunky game. It's a really clunky platformer that it could use some polish and some direction work, definitely. Yeah. And the fact that those mechanical limitations are being ignored by everywhere was giving this 9s out of, and 8 and 9s out of 10s, and really I would give this game a 7 maybe, because again, its aesthetic is good. When it plays right, it's fun, but it's got a lot of mechanical and direction issues that find. Although this is, I think, the first game out of the studio.
I'm sorry.
I want to say.
Probably. I have no recollection of anything that
they've ever done. Yeah. So it's a game with its problems, but don't understand why it's getting 9s and 8s everywhere.
Yeah.
Not a bad game. It's just a game with issues.
But yeah, hey, if you want to find out more about it for yourself, I have an archive up on my channel, which if you're watching the live stream right now, you're already there. Check it out there. And I'm also going to be streaming more of it, possibly tonight or in the near future, depending on when you're listening to this. So there you go.
Right on. Well, I think that's a good enough introduction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the End of the Week Podcast, episode 38. We're back and we're ready to talk some good gaming news and what we've been diving into this week, although we kind of already got a head start on that. A little bit of that little nightmares there again for those who didn't understand what game we're talking about there. But we're back. We've got our usual roundtable of hosts. I am TheBlackLink. We've got ourselves Mr. Hunt Artist.
Hello.
And Mr. Blackvox, who's just been quietly twiddling his thumbs, waiting for the moment to... Dude, you didn't watch Nate's live stream. You're a bad friend.
I was asleep.
You was asleep? Yeah. It and little nightmares. It's a game. It certainly is a game.
It is a game.
But anyways, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. There's a lot of news going on, especially as we cascade closer and closer to the oncoming big gaming press conference known as E3. But before that, we've even got some crazy news, of course, for you Destiny fans out there. We've got Destiny 2 stuff coming out next week, baby. Less than 6 days away now. Cannot wait to see what that's going to entail, but we're going to go ahead and dive on in. First things first, we're going to spend a little time talking about the games we've been playing this week. Nate, since basically you have already started with a little bit of that little nightmares, what else have you been getting down with?
I've been streaming a lot of Night in the Woods, which I am thoroughly enjoying. That is a phenomenal game. It's a like quirky 2D adventure puzzle solver, I guess. Like it kind of like a point and click, but without the point and click, more platforming. And it's about this girl who goes home to her like podunk little like family home, and she gets to see like what everybody was doing while she was gone. She went to college and dropped out, and yeah, it's kind of surreal, and a lot of the characters are really well written. If you wanna join me, like I am streaming that game still, and I have archives of it up on my YouTube. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I've been playing oh shoot, what else have I been playing? Kingdom Hearts. Still playing the Kingdom Hearts. Really enjoying them. I've been playing all of them consistently. Still haven't beaten Kingdom Hearts 2, that Roxas fight. Maybe I'll stream that. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do a stream of the Roxas fight, and everybody can just watch me get obliterated.
You're having trouble with Roxas?
Yeah, he's a final mix boss only. So they added him, but unfortunately it's mandatory, and he's just destructively unforgiving. Yeah, very, very hard fight. But yeah, what have you guys been playing?
Well, I mean, first things first, I watched a little bit of Night in the Woods, one of your episodes of that, and I had no idea what this game was before I started watching you stream it. And I was trying to figure out what this game is. Is it like a horror game? Is it just like a friendly little platformer? And so I started off like thinking, okay, it's going to be a friendly platformer that gets into like some spoopy stuff a little bit later down the line. But then I started seeing S-bombs dropped everywhere, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not a kid platformer. It's got some drama to it. And then like started getting into relationship drama and all kinds of stuff like that. And I was like, what is this? What is this narratively focused 2D platformer? That's just about, college age kids doing what college age animal kids do. And I'm really intrigued by it. So I think I might go back and watch the other archives, because I kind of want to find out what's going on in the lives of these teenage and young adult cat people.
Yeah, like it feels like a slice right out of that angsty period of everyone's lives, where like,
yeah,
you're a teenager, you're not quite sure what you want to do in life, everything's weird. Like it's a 2017 drama, so like there's like cell phones and internets, and I don't know, it's like I can't necessarily relate to the whole like May, the main character. She's going through some mental issues, like severe mental issues. She thinks she sees things, and she dropped out of college because she had like a breakdown of some sort. We're not quite sure what it is yet, but other than that, like just like the bond between like you and your friends, like you've got your one buddy who's like your best friend. He's trying to make a thing of it in life. He wants to move out of the crappy town that you guys live in and live somewhere like nice. But, he was raised in a crappy little town all of his life. He learned how to do things like steal and break things, and those are his like main skills. So he's not quite sure, like, even if he got out of town, like, what would he do? And it's just like things like that, and all of the characters are really relatable and interesting. Not all good characters. Some of them really suck, but like that's the fun of it. So
yeah,
but yeah, definitely
seems to be. Yeah, it seems to be a very narratively focused game, which is not what I was expecting at all. But now I'm intrigued. I want to watch the rest of the lives of these little animal people going through their usual animal young adult drama.
Well, cool. I am definitely going to, oh god, okay. I am definitely going to be streaming a ton more of that. So if you guys are listening and you want to know more, like, feel free to join me for my live streams.
Right on. Now you also just got Minecraft for the Nintendo Switch, right?
I did. I'm playing it right now if you're watching the live streaming version of this podcast. And it's okay. Like, there's a lot of really cool like Super Mario locations. Like right now I'm in Princess Peach's castle from 64. And there's even the pipe. You can even go into the pipe that you come out of in the intro for 64.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
It seems to be really, really fan servicing. We're not going to spend too much time talking about it since, of course, you just got it today. But this is Minecraft for the Switch. It's finally out for that console. It's $30, which I think is a little bit much for for me to buy Minecraft for like the 7th time. But it's basically pure fan service. And are you on creative mode or just normal?
Just normal or survival. I'm just walking around exploring.
Okay. Just because obviously they put a lot of effort into it, to make it Super Mario friendly and everything like that. And it looks cool. It looks really cool. I saw like a Mario statue over on the side and like a statue. It's neat, Maybe I'll buy Minecraft for the 8th time on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know. Maybe we'll make a server or something. Maybe we'll make a public server for all of our fans out there who actually have Switches and Minecraft on it to go in and build us stuff.
That would be
build
fun.
me things in Minecraft. Do it, people.
But yeah.
But right on. Anything else you've been playing this week?
No, that's about it.
John, what you been up to, dude?
Basically just going back and playing Zelda again.
Big.
I know, like a week ago we had that challenge by Nathan that I completed.
Yes, you did.
You did.
Great.
It was completed. You were tasked with starting the game and then getting all the way through Hyrule Castle and defeating Ganon with 3 hearts.
Eat.
And you did it. You did the thing.
Yeah, and I did the thing because someone challenged me, and I was like, I don't back down from a challenge, so I did it.
So what was the roughest part of that? Because obviously it's a lot of work to have to go all the way from the Great Plateau all the way up to Hyrule Castle.
I would say Thunderblight.
Oh yeah.
Thunderblight was easily the most difficult part. I one-shot Ganon. As soon as I beat Thunderblight, over. Absolutely over. It was a cakewalk. Ganon was like easy as hell. But
you brought light into his lair.
I did, and he wanted me to. But Thunderblight gave me a lot of trouble. Not only because he's so fast and he does his rush down that really you like have to time right with Flurry Rush.
Yeah.
When he summons his little spires that you have to lift up with magnesis and knock into him. Sometimes I would be standing too close to certain spires that had already had current flowing through them, and I would get zapped and just get schmurdered. And it was a bad time. I think I wiped on Thunderblight 4 times. And then on the 5th time, I finally beat him, cleaned up the last one. The last one, the whatever the other one was super easy. So then and went to Pig Fight. Pig Fight was super easy, done.
Well, yeah, because the pig fight, which spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Breath of the Wild, it's less of a fight and more of a spectacle.
It's more of a spectacle.
You're just supposed to sit there and be like, "Ooh, pretty."
which people have found a way recently to get out of the pig fight.
Did they break the arena?
Yep.
With the Twilight Bow?
Yeah, you can get out and use the bow of light.
Oh my gosh! Link me that video after the stream. I want to see that.
Yeah, you can just get out of the arena. So yeah, I've been playing Zelda. I've put my new game plus of Persona 5 on the back burner. I'll come back to that later in the summer because Merciless is just bending me over. Merciless difficulty sucks.
Yeah, I'm surprised you not spending all your time on that game.
I don't want to get too burnt out. I mean, it's a really, really good game, but I kind of want to like have some time to digest it still.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're going through new game plus, you realize stuff that you didn't realize the first time playing through, knowing the plot, knowing everything that you did get from the first playthrough, and going through new game plus, it's like, oh, okay, I see you. That sort of thing. And other than that, just playing Destiny with you on stream, and about it. I haven't really been touching too much of else. I've been giving Final Fantasy 14 a break.
John,
Nathan,
I have not completed Persona 5 yet.
You
Rip.
I didn't say anything spoiler, did I?
Nope. I'm just saying, like,
exactly. So that's kind of why. I mean, I didn't want to spoil it either, but yeah. Where are you at right now? Are you in December?
I am out of custody.
Ah, okay. So, oh wow, you're like right there.
Yeah.
You're like right at the end. What?
I don't know what any of this means.
What level are you?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, dude.
Are you in the 60s, the 70s?
I think 60s.
You better grind that ass off. Boy, you better get to it, because if you don't, you're gonna be feeling like Dan.
Oh.
You're feeling like Dan.
That does not sound
one
good.
thing I will tell you: go pick up the SP Adhesive 3 from the doctor's office.
I already have that on my protagonist.
Then you're good to go. Then you're good to go, because that's the only thing that will aid you or help you complete dungeons in one day, or not be able to. Rather,
yeah, totally. Oh, I've had it for a while.
Yeah, because you're going to be going into the depths of mementos next, and you're going to need it. Like, have you been clearing mementos checkpoints? Like,
yeah.
You know, okay. So yeah, you're gonna be going down it into the deepest part of it.
Ooh. Okay.
So prepare yourself, because the stuff there does not play around. It will slap you. Like, you will be catching hands left and right. But yeah, that's about all I've been playing. What about you, Sean? You been playing anything good? Anything interesting?
Okay, so as usual, we've got our Destiny stuff all week, and by the way, super psyched for next week. 5 days away from the Destiny 2 live streaming event. Can't wait to see what's going to be going on there. But in my free time, I've gone back and I've started playing Breath of the Wild again over the past couple of days. I started a new save file, of course, because I have a Switch now, so I've started playing on my Switch, and basically I decided, I'm going to start a file. I'm going to go through. I'm going to ignore story, and I'm just going to attempt to. Nate, I just saw you murder that Koopa.
Yes, I did.
And you are a bad person.
You deserve the spider that's coming for you right now.
Yep.
By the way, for anybody who's listening to this podcast, it's going to be a little bit of torture. For the live stream, we're playing some Minecraft for Nintendo Switch, and Nate just pulled a Mario and murdered a Koopa. He did it in cold blood. We all saw him. He's going to jail. But I've been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. I decided to ignore story. I'm just running around getting all the towers and trying to pick up as many shrines as I can, because I want to be as overpowered as possible when I head to my first actual dungeon. I have already talked to Impa, but I didn't talk to her until I already had the Master Sword. So I rolled up in Impa's palace like, "Yo, what up, girl?" Paya was like, fainting at the sight of me. I had some armor. I had some barbarian armor on. I had the Master Sword. I had some Savage Lionel stuff. I was ready to rock and roll.
Wait, so you already did all of the mazes?
Yeah.
Dude.
Listen to this. I did it with 4 hearts because I didn't want to spend any any of the spirit orbs until I had at least 40. So I ran around and did 40 shrines, including all the mazes, on 4 hearts.
Oh, dude, you could have gotten your stamina and then traded.
Yeah, but nope. It was I did it without extra stamina.
Damn,
it was
dude.
horrible. I went through almost the end. I've got 1 tower left to pick up, and I only basically just now cashed in my shrine orb so that I could get the Master Sword. And I feel big. I feel big and strong. And so I'm going to be doing the story stuff. The reason for why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to do all of the story stuff on stream, including the Master Sword. I wanted to stream me getting the Master Sword, but eventually I just got tired of waiting for streaming and just went ahead and grabbed the Master Sword. And I'll just I'm going around continuing some more shrines, which, by the way, Nate, I want to bridge into this in just a second.
Okay.
But I wanted to complete some shrines and do all the story stuff on stream and just be as overpowered as possible. And it's a ton of fun. Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. I'm having just as much, if not more, fun going through it a second time. And I have to say, Nate, there is, and John, this is important for you too, there is a clear difference between motion controls on the Wii U and motion controls on the Switch.
Right? They work perfect.
So if you remember a few weeks ago when we first discussed Breath of the Wild, John, I think you and I, our only complaint about the game was its motion controls. Some of the shrines that revolve around motion controls are just the worst thing in the game. They're easily the worst thing in the game for me. And that was certainly my biggest problem with the Wii U version, because the Wii U version, they're clunky, they are inaccurate, and they are oftentimes more frustrating than anything else.
And you have to cheat, basically.
And you have to cheat. All right, but so with the Switch version, I noticed a few things. One, the accelerometer, the gyro controls, whatever it is far more accurate on the Nintendo Switch than it is on the Wii U.
Big time.
The shrines that on the Wii U took me like 4 to 5 attempts to complete, not because I didn't know what to do, but because the motion controls were so inaccurate. It took me 1 try on the Switch. Like,
Without it.
Specifically, one of the first motion controlled shrines you go to is the one, Nate, where I remember the one I got stuck on stream. Where you have to like maneuver the ball through the maze, and like we ultimately just flipped the maze over and did it that way.
Yeah, I was so confused watching you do it, because like I got it on my first try. Like I just like the ball fell down. I was like, hey, you know what? I bet I could just like whoop, and I did, and then flipped it, and there you go.
Yeah, and on Wii U, I don't know if it's because of it's just that the Wii U's less accurate, or because of the tablet controller is bigger and it's a little bit more clunky, but it took forever to get that ball accurately where I needed it to go, and then be able to flip it up, because you have to lean the platform down, let the ball roll, and then flip it up at the last second to bounce it over onto the opposite platform and complete the puzzle. It took me so long on Wii U because it was so inaccurate and it was so frustrating, and it immediately took me out of my joy for the game. On the Switch, it took me 2 tries. 2 tries to get that thing flipped over, get the ball right, lined up, and flopped over onto the other side where I could just toss it into the module.
So Switch worth it then?
Good. Oh yeah, Switch worth it just for the motion control alone. And like if you remember one of the other puzzles, there's one puzzle where it's kind of like a game of golf, where you have to you have to take control of like just like a floating hammer and slap things around. It's so much better on Switch, John. It is so much better, so much more accurate, and actually fun to do on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm really, really happy with that, because when we first talked about it, we weren't at an impasse, but you were like, no, man, the motion controls are fine. Nate, you were like, there's nothing wrong with them. I'm having a fine time with it. And John and I were just like, no, this is bad. No. It's not good, and it should not be in the game. And I can understand, and I can agree with you now, Nate. The Switch version motion controls are perfectly fine. They are perfectly fine. I still wish there weren't motion control puzzles in the game, but it's definitely a lot better on the Nintendo Switch, and it's made that experience a heck of a lot easier to tolerate. And John, I wish you luck in getting a Switch so that you can deal with better.
I'm not worried about it until like the holiday season, honestly.
Do it.
Do it. I'm not gonna worry about it.
DLC Pack 1 coming soon, man. Which, by the way, we didn't get too much time to talk about DLC Pack 1, so we might as well, because those are really the only 2 games I've been playing all week.
We touched on it last podcast, actually.
We touched on it, but I wanted to clear some things up because, of course, we are getting our first bit of DLC for Breath of the Wild next month, is it?
It just said summer.
Yeah.
Just sometime in summer.
Knowing Nintendo, probably July.
Yeah, like the last day of July.
Yeah.
But moving on there, we got basically explanation for what exactly that DLC pack is going to be. And we know it's going to be an adventure tracking mode, which shows basically everywhere you've gone for the past 200 hours of gameplay, which is neat. Ultimately unnecessary, not really something people should have to pay for, but
I think it'll be gratifying.
Yeah, just to show, okay, it'll be a good way to see where you haven't been, ultimately, is what I think most people will use it for, because it just tracks where you've been for the past 200 hours of gameplay with like a little line showing you exactly where you've gone, and it'll be good for people who haven't been certain places to say, oh, okay, well now I can go to this area of the map because I know I've never been, and that's good. That's good. But aside from that, we're getting some new armor. We're getting a couple of new hats and masks and stuff, like the Majora's Mask, which is going to be spoopy, so you can go around and spoop the residents of Hyrule. And in the biggest bit of content that we're getting, we are getting a new kind of dungeon challenge horde mode sort of thing. I can't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's kind of like
called Trial or something. It was like Trial of where you're basically stripped butt ass naked, and you're given like one sword, and there's like 40 floors. Like, go ahead and clear them.
Yeah, and as you clear floors, you get better weapons and armor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Eventide Island, which was a fantastic little side quest.
I just want more of that.
Yeah, that was great. That was
reward for these 40 floors is like a permanent upgrade to your Master Sword. Hopefully, so it doesn't run out of energy. Hopefully.
I think they actually explained what it is. So it's going to be unlocking the true power of the Master Sword. So basically, it's going to be bumping it up from that base 30 damage to the 60 damage upgraded form. You know, whenever you're near Ganon Smell or Guardians or something like that,
or like a Lionel or like a Guardian.
Yeah, it bumps it up to that 60 power permanently. So it'll have 60 attack everywhere. I wish it were like 60 damage and unbreakable status, but that would kind of break the game. Although I think it's worth it. Most of the people who are going to be playing this have already beaten the game and gone through it. And if you're going through 40 floors of increasingly difficult enemies, which you know they're just going to start throwing Lionels at you at the end of it.
Oh yeah, there's probably going to be two to three Lionels on a floor.
Mm-hmm. You know that's going to happen. And
what I wish they would do is, I'm okay with it breaking in its base form, but when it's in its like powered up form, like the really glowy one, make it unbreakable, please.
Make it unbreakable. And who knows?
Because
know
that ruined part of the Ganon fight for me. Sorry to cut you off, but like my Master Sword broke or it ran out of energy during the Ganon fight on my first clear.
Ooh.
And I was like, that just kind of ruined it for me. I was like, come on, Nintendo.
Yeah, it's kind of garbage.
That's like, come on, man.
It should have been at that moment that like the Master Sword starts glowing like yellow, and then like it just becomes true Master Sword.
Oh man, if you could power it up like you could back in like with the white sword in the original Zelda, or in A Link to the Past, powering up from like the red to the yellow Master Sword and all of that. That would be the best, and I wish they would add that in for some DLC.
Actually, never mind.
What is it?
I was like powering up your like Triforce or something, because the thing about this game is that the Triforce took a huge backseat.
It's barely mentioned at all.
Barely mentioned at all.
Does Link even have the Triforce of Courage at the end?
Yeah, we're not even sure.
Actually, we don't know because we don't see his hand at all, really. So,
which I didn't have too much of a problem with, by the way.
Yeah, but
Master Sword. Good shot,
fine,
Nate.
I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice shot. Nate just screwed a horseback Pokeblin. Oh, we got two of them. Ooh,
good big job, Nate. Dubbies, big slaps.
But I wish what they would do is when the sword is powered up and it's like glowy form, when you're near Ganon or like a powerful enemy, I forget when it like actually like powers up. I think it's near like some Lionel, Ganon, and like a few other
and Guardians or something like that.
Yeah, whenever you're around the Bane or whatever it is.
Yeah. So when it's in that like state, I wish it was just
unbreakable.
Yeah, just wouldn't break at all because that just was a piss off. I'm sitting there fighting Ganon, heat about. I'm like, all right, this is Zelda right here, and then my Master Sword's like,
snap. It's like that's enough. That's enough.
And I switch to like a Claymore, and I finish him off. I'm just like,
it takes you out of it, and that's weird because the specific lore for the Master Sword says the exact opposite. Like when you get it, it says, hey, this sword is meant to be used against Ganon and his blight, but don't rely on it too much outside of those scenarios, because if you use it when it's not necessary, it'll break. It's like, okay, well, in the fight with Ganon, the Master Sword should be necessary. That's the Blade of Evil's Bane. Why does it take damage, and why can it break during that fight?
Yeah. Or why can you kill Ganon without it? Rip speedruns.
Yeah. with a stick. Just use a stick and speedruns.
Just like gather up all of the Royal Guard set, run to Ganon, bop him, and you're fine.
There you go. Or if you get one Savage Lionel Club, you can beat the game.
Yep.
Run, Link, run. I saw that, Nate.
Nate got slapped.
He made a mistake. But so the reward for this 40 floor dungeon is going to be Master Sword in its fully powered up state, which is cool. I hope it's also unbreakable, although we've got no mention of that. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. But other than that, I don't really know if we're getting anything else with that DLC pack. We already mentioned the new armor, the new masks, the tracking feature, and the new dungeon, which I think is pretty much it. And I'm fine with that being the first DLC pack.
Yeah, me too.
No, the new dungeon, like the new dungeon, is coming in Holiday.
I just meant the cave thing.
Oh yeah.
The big dungeon itself with story and stuff is actually coming later this year, probably in November. Which is cool. Can't wait for that. Although November is going to be a very busy. Do you know how many things are coming out in November? So many games. We've got Super Mario Odyssey. I think it's supposed to be in November. Is that December?
I think it's just Holiday for right now.
Oh no. If that's coming out in November too, rip us. There's going to be no time to just play everything we've got.
Yep.
It's going to be nuts. But that's a good problem to have. We'll be learning more about that when we get to the E3 stuff that's going to be coming up in about a month or so. But all right, I think that's pretty much it for the games we've been playing this week. What do you say we move on to the news topics?
Hell yeah.
Eat.
Right on. So the big news topic for this week is, of course, that Nintendo has announced their full E3 schedule. They've given us their E3 plans for this year. Their show is going to be starting off on Tuesday, I think it is, June 13th, where they're going to have their usual showcase. It's basically going to be a expanded Nintendo Direct that is going to focus entirely on Nintendo Switch games. Now, this was good news for me because I was really worried about, not really worried, but I'm really interested in seeing what Switch games are going to be coming. And I initially thought that it was just going to be a mixture of, okay, some Nintendo Switch titles, maybe a couple of brand new 3DS games, because surprisingly, they're still supporting that platform. But no, they came out and said that the press conference is going to be entirely focused on Nintendo Switch games. What do you guys think of that?
I'm fine with it. I mean, the 3DS is what, 6 years old now?
It's pretty old, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting up there in like years. I mean, you can see the fact that they at least announced the 2DS or the new 2DS, that they're starting to get away from 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pretty much expect the new handheld to be announced next year, probably.
Probably, yeah, the successor to it. Although, do you really think they're going to want to put a handheld in there to go up against the Switch? Because the Switch is making bank right now. It's right. Selling like crazy, and it could certainly be Nintendo's new handheld focus.
It certainly could, but I think that the handheld market is still going to be there, and for the people that want to keep the Switch as like a home console, I think they will want to look for a handheld, something that's going to get games a lot more frequent than the Switch, because let's be honest, handheld market gets a lot more games than like home console market. Handheld market is much bigger, I would argue, especially over in Japan. I would expect more people over there to bring a small 3DS than a giant Switch onto a train. I think that's just a huge market, and they don't want to like get out of it. I mean, they're ruling the handheld market. Granted, the Switch is a hybrid console, but I feel like getting away from the focus of handheld right now would be a huge error. I mean, looking at this, success of 3DS, I don't think there would be a reason to get out of it.
I think it's more so a matter of, did Nintendo already begin development of something, and if so, is it still like do
in
they
development.
think it's viable?
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind that they had a backup plan to the Switch just in case it flopped.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
and it's going to be interesting because, of course, the Switch is a success. It is a very good console. It is selling very well. They just need to start stocking. Come on, Nintendo, no excuse. Although they did say they moved to bring in some emergency shipments via air, which is a bit more expensive than just shipping them via sea. I think it's interesting. You know, if they are going to announce a new console, I think it, not a console, but a new handheld, I think it probably won't be this year. I think you're right, John. I think it'll be probably sometime next year.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see how they do that.
I mean, it's still getting games. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we've got new Fire Emblem in less than a week. I mean, it's still getting top-notch games like every single like few months. I mean, you're getting Fire Emblem. I'm pretty sure there's going to be like what's that game? Ever Oasis, the same guy who did the Monasteries.
Yeah, that's coming out soon too.
And I mean, it's going to get content probably for like the next year or so, and probably still going to get content in 2018. Like, I mean, they're still going to get games for it, even if they announce a new handheld next year. It's still going to get games throughout the year, probably.
We'll see exactly how long they keep that up, but at the very least, I don't have a
feel about that though.
I'm fine with it.
About them keeping up with the 3DS?
Yeah, like, as Switch owners ourselves, Sean, like, I want development to move on to the Switch. Like, the whole design philosophy behind the Switch was supposed to be that Nintendo could unify all of their development teams, right? Like, there is no more handheld Zelda team and console Zelda team. It's just both of them, so we get a hybrid of both when we get our new Zelda. But now it seems as if, like, that is no longer the case.
Well, I mean, financially, do you really think they'd want to give up that extra market?
Financially, like, if they're expecting to pull a PS2, which, let's be frank, like, every console wants to be the PS2, right?
Yeah.
If they're really banking on that, I can see them continuing development, but Switch is doing well. Like,
it is.
The contrast here is, like, with the PS2 to the PS3, PS3 tanked in the beginning. Like, was not financially viable at all. But the PS2 still was. That's not the case here. The Switch is selling like hotcakes, and it has one of the hottest new games ever on it. Like, there's no reason why they can't just, all right, well, 3DS is over.
Focus on the Switch, yeah.
If they're going to do it, they need to do it quick.
Yeah.
They need to make the transition, make it transparent as well, make it known that, hey, 3DS development is ending at the end of this year or ending at the middle of next year, right before, you know, quarter 2 ends, and then go from there. It needs to be quick and swift, and the consumers need to be at least made aware of it, that, hey, we're going to end 3DS and this is going to be our new handheld console as well as our home console and be a hybrid.
I mean, and you know what? Maybe that's what the focus of E3 this year is going to be. I mean, after all, like I said, the actual direct showing, their floor show. Well, it's not really a floor show, but their big show on Tuesday, June 13th, is going to be focused on Switch games. Just Switch games for that show. We're going to see 3DS games during the Treehouse live stream after that, but for their big show, it's going to be just Switch games. So maybe that's when they make that message like, hey, 3DS, well, they'll never say the 3DS is on its way out. They'll just stop developing for it.
Yeah.
But they'll say, hey, the Switch is where you want to go now for both your home console and your mobile experience. And I would be perfectly fine with that, honestly.
Yeah, it's just that I have a hard time believing that, at least in Japan and very heavy commuter countries that basically commute to work and commute to school like every single day, like via train or via public transportations, them lugging around a Nintendo Switch. I know it's not that big, but it feels like but I feel like it's not small enough to fit in your pocket.
Okay,
yeah,
so you know me.
Totally.
I was gonna.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna join up with Nate on this one. It absolutely is small enough to fit in your pocket.
Okay.
If you're wearing like jeans or something, you may want to take off the Joy-Cons and put it in your pocket, and then put those in like a separate pocket. But you know me, John. I wear fleece
That cargo
shorts. That thing snuggles perfectly into my pocket and like is perfectly hidden.
Okay, good. I mean,
So
it is small.
It is small. It is small enough that that you can carry it around with you. It absolutely is a mobile console.
Okay. Granted, I have like never held one. I mean, I just know like the general size of it. It's not terribly big and it's not terribly small. It's just kind of like a good middle ground. But if they make the transition known and transparent that hey, we're gonna put all of our
Switch games,
we're gonna put all of our devs onto this platform and we're gonna dev for it. I think it would help out a lot of devs. Primarily like assets. Can you imagine like how much easier it would be for certain devs? Be like, okay, we can just dev for the Switch architecture day in and like day out. Like certain devs that have dev for like both consoles. I mean, what comes to mind maybe is like, I don't know, Intelligent, maybe. Maybe bringing over Fire Emblem assets from game to game would make their job a lot easier.
You just won Paper Mario.
We know. We know what you want.
Well,
sit there and try to front like, oh, Fire Emblem, maybe. We know what you want.
Yeah, I know what I want to. Bring it back, please. Just
and
Color Splash.
And the Switch it's certainly a console that's it's primed for that, man. It is primed to just take over as Nintendo's one-stop shop for everything. And you know, I hope maybe that's one of the reasons why they stopped the NES Classic, because that was a dumb move. But I hope the reason why is because, okay, they want to focus all of that stuff, virtual console, handheld experience, console experience, all on the Nintendo Switch. And like I said, we'll have to see at their E3 show.
Mm-hmm. TechnoGeek 1998 actually brought up a really good point, and this could be a time for us to see something like this. What do you guys think of the Nintendo Switch VR that is highly talked
there
about?
There were a lot of rumors last year that Nintendo had trademarked some VR things, and they were testing a proprietary helmet that you just put your Switch onto, because they've already got the screen for it. You know, they would just need a headset feature.
So, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people are speculating that the Switch is going to work kind of like it. Go ahead.
I just thought, boys, and I kind of hope this doesn't happen. And
Virtual Boy Switch.
No, Sean, what game in the first party Nintendo library would kind of make sense on VR?
Metroid Prime VR.
Yes.
Bring it to me.
Oh God,
bring it to me.
It makes me cringe because I just like, no, please, no.
It's gonna happen.
That game.
Oh,
I mean, but why not though? Why not? They've already got,
because VR is still a niche market.
At least
I feel it is an underdeveloped market. It needs to be fleshed out more before you go putting your whole stock of one of the most beloved franchise and be like, here, make something of this. But if it's going to be anyone that can do it right, it's going to be retro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is how you is how you flesh out the VR market. You put games on it. And I mean, when it comes to this sort of thing, I think Nintendo's in the best position to take advantage of VR because they've already mastered motion control, which VR takes almost exclusive use of. The Joy-Cons are perfectly suited to that sort of.
It is
perfectly suited to it. And, you know, I could see it working with Nintendo. If any company would really get it right on the first try, I think it would be Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, and like, if the going back to what I was saying before, if the rumor of like the Switch fitting into the headset itself is true, that could be like the first wireless headset.
It could be, yeah.
Like full wireless.
Wait, but how much hours of charge would you be able to get off of it?
About 3.
Probably. Yeah, with Breath of the Wild, you get about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
But what if the VR takes like extra juice?
Well, then like an hour and a half. Like, I don't know if you've messed around with VR much at all, but you don't really.
You don't do it for long periods of time.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Gear VR helmet that I use sometimes to watch movies on my phone. stuff like that. And it's really cool. It's really immersive, and like it's crazy to put that thing on and suddenly you're in a gigantic movie theater by yourself or on the moon and watching a movie. But you don't do it for more than like an hour or so.
Yeah, no, it hurts too much.
Yeah, it gets to you after a little bit. But yeah, certainly I could see VR becoming a viable platform with the Nintendo Switch. The screen itself, I'd go over and grab it, but it would make a lot of noise. But the screen itself isn't too big. It could probably fit in on a helmet. And it would work the exact same way that, say, the Gear VR does with your phone. I could definitely see that working.
Me too.
It'd be neat. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. We do know that the expo is going to feature hands-on Super Mario Odyssey on the show floor. I imagine that's going to be a big part of the June 13th press conference and the Treehouse live streams after that. Super excited for it. Cannot wait to see. Oh, I get a little bit giddy just thinking about it. I absolutely can't wait to see what Super Mario Odyssey is going to play like.
I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks like it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario 3D World, great game, but looking at it, you're just like, oh, well, it's a rehash of a pre-existing game, whatever.
Basically. Yeah.
Like, it even looks better, but still, like, eh. Like, this game just looks
the
like...
Mushroom Kingdom has looked more vibrant than this game. Like,
the Mushroom World,
Kingdom,
man.
It looks fleshed out.
City.
New Donk City.
Let's go.
New Donk City. But
can I interrupt you for just a sec?
Go for it.
Why are you wasting time arrow fishing? Just throw a bomb in there.
Oh, dude, you know what? You're 100% right. I am very
just
sorry.
Just throw a bomb in.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me, everybody.
It makes fishing so much easier. But go ahead. What were you going to say, John?
Nothing. I was just going to reiterate that the world of the Mushroom Kingdom in this game is just like breathtaking. I look at it, I'm just like, please, man.
I need that Mushroom Kingdom, man. It looks good. It looks super good, and I can't wait to see exactly how it's going to play and get to feel some of that for myself later this year. It's probably going to be an amazing experience.
Or you just go to Vegas and you play it firsthand. You're like, W.
Wait, Vegas? What do you mean?
Or not Vegas, Cali might be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me fly out to E3 and I'll just get my hands on it.
Yeah.
I mean, right. I got an invite. You guys didn't?
Yeah.
Actually, no. E3 is available to the public this year.
Yeah, it is. It's like the first or second year.
How much do you think it would take? Like, how long is E3? Like 4 days?
About 4 days.
Roughly.
Yep.
How much do you think it would take? Like, get a plane ticket to E3 and 4 days in a motel.
I don't remember how much the tickets to E3 are, but it would probably be a pretty penny because
probably looking at $1,000.
The flights to LAX and then finding a place to stay, especially during that week when a lot of the places are just completely full.
Yo, we could hit up Eric. Just live there.
Let's go live with Eric. But I mean, just go for a press pass. Just go for the press. Do that. Be like,
yeah, I have a cool like 58 subscribers. I think I'm pretty important in the gaming space. So about those free tickets.
Yeah, man, about those free tickets. Rip. But I mean, it'd be an interesting experience. I've always thought about going to E3, even when I used to live in California. Maybe someday. Apparently, it's not something you go to for
fun.
You go to just for the experience. Just to say you've been to E3.
I was gonna say you go there to be my experience with E3 is like people like Game Explain and the Completionist who go there and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun. This is gonna be great. And then 4 days later, they're like, man, I sure wish I could play a video game.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But we are going to be, what was I saying? We are going to be getting Super Mario Odyssey on the show floor. We're going to be super excited about that. We've got the Treehouse live stream, which I love the way that they've been handling Treehouse live streams for the past couple of years. It's like 5 to 6 hours of uninterrupted, just pure gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very good when it comes to Switch, because right now the problem is that the Switch, it's a great console, but in terms of like AAA titles, it's only got a few. And yeah, it's got
soon to be 3.
Soon to be 3. with like Splatoon and whatever else is coming out. Nice shot, Nate. But I'm very excited to see what other AAA titles are going to be coming out and the gameplay for them. So I'm super psyched about that. Additionally, they've also got a Splatoon and ARMS tournament that's going to be held by Nintendo. It's going to be an invitational like the Smash Brothers tournament. And it's going to be Splatoon 2 and the first time we're ever going to be seeing some real ARMS competitive gameplay. I'm ready to see what that spoop game is going to look like. What about you guys?
I think that game's going to be really fun. It doesn't necessarily appeal to me fully.
Same here.
It's kind of like Splatoon. Like, I think Splatoon is an amazing game. It doesn't necessarily scratch that itch for me, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm really excited to see what other people do with that game.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I'm excited to see how it's going to play.
I think it's going to be fun to listen to and, like, watch.
Because the first Splatoon was it was a fun game. It was pretty fun. I got to play it a little bit. Just out at GameStop and stuff like that. And Splatoon 2 is looking like it's going to be probably just as fun as the first one was. But moving on from that, moving away from some of the Nintendo news, although I hope they do announce Virtual Console finally for the Nintendo Switch. Can I get my GameCube Virtual Console, please?
Do that, and I will go on a mad hunt for a Switch.
Fat stacks of Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no real reason for Virtual Console to not be available on this thing. That is one of the big L's about the Nintendo Switch, and they need to get their act together when it comes to that, because there's no reason not to have it, especially if you're going to start charging people a premium price for your online service. But moving on, Sony has announced that their gaming division made a profit of $1.2 billion in the last calendar years, their largest since 1998. Meanwhile, PSVR sales have hit 375,000 units in Q1 of 2017. Total sales for that headset have breached the 1 million threshold. I think this is a good thing.
I think we said
we said a long time ago that if there was going to be any VR platform that really took off, it was going to be Sony, because Sony actually has games.
I think it shows the interest.
Yeah,
in
it's
VR.
there.
Now we just need the execution. Mm-hmm. We need companies to really put their whole hand in, rather than just be like, okay, put like a half-ass title on there, see if we can make some money off of it.
Like, it's
VR. Go ahead, Nate.
I was just gonna say, it's pretty crazy that Resident Evil 7 is the closest thing we've got to a full VR game, and that's an add-on.
Basically,
right?
And it's the most fully functional VR game out there right now.
But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that it feels like companies are just like throwing fish out and saying like, okay, go ahead and just put it out there, see if we can sell something. Companies really aren't developing for VR with everything that they have. And some companies dev the game first and use VR as like, a second, add-on. And granted, that's how you should approach your game, is VR is going to be an add-on, but put a lot of effort into it, because VR is something that can really like pave the way down the road. Like 10 years from now, I'm pretty sure VR is going to be a main staple in gaming.
Absolutely.
If a game does not have VR, people will be like, people will just kind of be.
It'll be the 60 FPS of their day.
Yeah, it'll be like, it's not VR. What
a bunch of plebs.
So yeah, I kind of see VR becoming a very hipstery thing.
Really, you do?
The Tumblr scene, like, if I'm not experiencing a game, then I'm not really playing it, am
I? Ugh. It's certainly a possibility, and one I'm looking forward to. VR has a lot of potential behind it, and I want to see what they're gonna do with it. Like, I want to see what they're capable of, because right now the best VR game is basically Resident Evil 7, and it's a great game. Resident Evil 7 is a fantastic game, and they need to learn to kind of take advantage of that. Who knows? I guess we'll see. But I'm glad to see that Sony's PSVR is selling. It's selling pretty darn well, and maybe that means they'll put a little bit more faith behind it. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Moving on, Square Enix has parted ways with IO Interactive, the Hitman people, and reports it hit record high sales last year. Square Enix saw a jump of 20% in net sales and a 20.3% increase in operating income, which is good, although it didn't have a lot to do with Hitman.
No, and that's why they're gone.
If we're being perfectly honest, it did not have a lot to do with Hitman.
To do with Final Fantasy 15 and Tomb Raider.
Final Fantasy 15, Tomb Raider, and Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 never gets mentioned in like
it doesn't, and it saved Square Enix.
Yep.
That nobody gives it the props that it deserves. Final Fantasy 14 saved Square Enix. That's why they're able to produce games. That's why they were able to finish Versus 13, which eventually became 15. Nobody gives that game the credit that it deserves because they were in a very, very, very bad spot.
Nobody gives Yoshi P the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, man. They were in a rough spot.
Yoshi P just got the, I think it was the community letter for this year. Every single year, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the community bands together and makes like a leather booklet, like showing good ideas from the community.
The community, yeah.
And they give it to Yoshi P, and he just sifts like through it. Apparently, the response from Yoshi P is like, "This is good.
This is good."
You know, Japanese developer response. So what do you
That's
like?
it, yeah. This is good. And you know, he really deserves a lot of credit, he and his team, for their rebranding of Final Fantasy 14 as A Realm Reborn and saving Square Enix, because that game came back big. It got big sales. It's made them an absolute ton of money.
Might one say that this is a Final Fantasy?
Yeah, it was like the story of the original Final Fantasy, where it came out. It was supposed to be that company's. It was supposed to be Squaresoft's last game, and wound up selling so well that they were able to continue on. Final Fantasy 14 kind of did the same thing, which I see Radiant Duke in the chat saying he would play Final Fantasy 14, but he doesn't want to get sucked in. Look, just give it up and play Final Fantasy 14. You can do it on PS4, bro. We play it. Play with us, Duke. Join our guild. And it's such a good game. You know, it is the only MMO, I think, that has really come out and been able to stand up alongside something like World of Warcraft.
I would say that it is probably the closest that any game has been to like competing with WoW. WoW is still blowing it out by leaps and bounds, but
not by that much. They've closed the gap quite a bit. Whereas like WoW has about 7 million players. Final Fantasy 14's at like 5 to 6.
This pleases me.
They have closed that gap. There are a lot of people playing 14, and they should be, because Final Fantasy 14 is a fantastic MMO, and the new DLC for it's coming out in just a little over a month from now. It's coming out June 20th. It is Stormblood, and I cannot wait. Wait.
Square pretty much plans to make even bigger profit margin because Stormblood's going to sell like hotcakes.
It is. It's
along with their new level 60 potions that are going to be on the microtransaction market.
I'm going to buy all of them,
and people will buy them.
I hope that they're at least kind of expensive, like $10.
Oh, they're gonna be more expensive than $10. It's gonna be like the price of a sub.
I'll take $10. No, be $10. I'll take that. Take that too.
You just want to level up like 5 classes.
I'll spend $50, level up a bunch of classes that I really don't feel like grinding out, and be happy. I know how to play the game. I've been through the game. I know what I'm doing. I should.
You were a 1.0, Sean. So I feel like you've earned it. Everyone gets one free one though, so that's good.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. So, what DPS class am I going to waste that on? So that I don't have to level.
Here, not monk. I'll give you a suggestion. Not monk.
Thanks, something man. Crafting. Level it on. Do it on a crafting. There you go.
Do it on a crafting class, Nathan.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, do it on like a crafting.
You can't stand crafting.
Because guys, I love crafting, but I hate leveling crafting.
I will tell you this, Nate. Do it on Weaver. Save yourself.
Okay.
Save yourself.
It only took me a day to get Weaver up to like 55.
Sean, that's because you had Gil. Weaver?
I didn't waste a lot of Gil on that. I had plenty of materials to just burn through those levs.
No, Sean.
Weaver was easy.
Dude,
Weaver
if I can,
not easy.
I will spend $100 on potions
to skip that grind.
I am such a whale for that. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I think that's fun. Some people have problems with that. I think it's fine for you to skip the long grind to just get to end game if you want to pay money for it. I think you should have that option.
I do too.
Plus,
but
it's only going to 60, and the cap's being raised to 70.
To 70.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna be playing the old content. I mean, like if there's a potion for it, there's especially nobody going to be playing the content. Like, old
Yeah,
content
nobody's
will
gonna
be
want to
dead.
really. Nobody's gonna want to really pay that. Nate, you know you don't have to drop the apple to feed your horse, right?
Yeah, but they
Just
like look. I'm doing it right now. Like, they're just finicky. Sometimes they won't take it. But
that's true.
I like to drop it.
But so yeah, Final Fantasy 14, fantastic game. Some I guess big financial news for Square Enix. I'm glad they're making money. Goodbye, Hitman. Maybe you shouldn't have been episodic. Rip.
Episodic, charging $15 for each chapter.
And I hope that's going to be a lesson to Square that don't go episodic for Final Fantasy.
If they do that, they will hold the biggest L.
Don't do that.
Nowadays,
Nomura, you will effectively have destroyed Square. I'm just saying.
Nowadays, when I see like layoffs like this, it's kind of hard to feel bad for them because game developers always come back as a brand new studio with an amazing new game that they weren't able to make under the oppressive rule of big company X.
Of the Japanese overlords.
So like usually when this happens, it gives developers the like resolve to chase their game development dreams that now that they have experience, they can kind of pursue. So Hitman devs, go for it. Just
go do your thing.
Do your thing. I wish you the best of luck.
Go get some big fat stacks of money from Ubisoft. They tend to let their developers do whatever.
Oh, for sure. They'll probably go partner with Ubisoft and like I'm pretty sure that they're just going to be absorbed into the Assassin's Creed house.
Oh, yeah, probably. Agent 47 was an assassin.
Yeah. He just didn't know it.
He just didn't know it. Oh, rip.
Because it turns out that he was a Mongolian prince, and now he has to fight between two different factions and raise all the towers.
Let's just not do that. Let's not dial it back, pull it back now. But moving on, AMD's got a little bit of a thing going on this Tuesday. They're going to have another press showing just like they did a month or two, actually about 2 months ago, for their new AMD Ryzen architecture, which, by the way, is a fantastic CPU architecture. I recently swapped over about a month ago from an Intel build. I was on an old i5 to a Ryzen 1700 build, and it is great. This thing is an absolute workhorse. By the way, rip Boko Blend that you just sent off a cliff.
It's pretty fun.
Not sure he deserved that. But I swapped over to a Ryzen 1700 build. It's super good. And this week they're having another press showing for their new GPU architecture, their new graphics cards for the RX Vega graphics cards, as well as their brand new Navi high-end GPUs. For the Vega, it's going to be some mid-end stuff, maybe challenging the GTX 1070 realm of graphics cards, while the Navi is looking to take on stuff like the GTX 1080, 1080 Ti, and the Titan X and Titan X Pascal. But we'll see. It's going to be some good stuff in there. Hopefully it'll kick NVIDIA in the pants a bit, and get them to drop their prices.
Yeah, because they have a pretty much.
They've had controlling market share for way too long, and they've been able to jack their prices.
NVIDIA has like a monopoly on GPUs right now?
They just like Intel had a monopoly on their high-end CPUs.
Okay.
They've definitely had a monopoly. NVIDIA's had a monopoly on high-end GPUs for a long, long time, and it's just like Intel. They've been able to overcharge for it, and I'm ready for that to get knocked down just a bit.
Good.
But all right,
competition
after that,
breeds dubs.
Competition does create dubs, and we need dubs for Destiny 2 being on PC. Bring it to me. I need it. Let's see. Next up, GameStop creates a new Nintendo Switch bundle. It's got the console, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, and Has Been Heroes for a price tag of $484.99. Launches on Friday, May 19th, but good luck getting one, as John put in the notes there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a great bundle. Those are fantastic games. Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Shovel Knight. Treasure Trove is basically all of the Shovel Knight games. It's the base game for the original Shovel Knight and all the DLCs and standalones that have come out since. So you've got Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, which are both fantastic in and of themselves. And Has Been Heroes is, I hear, a pretty darn good little indie title. All for $484.99. That's actually less than what I paid for my Switch, because I paid like $524 because I got like a pro controller and a game and some other things. So yeah, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Good deal. And we say good luck getting one. The $500 Switch bundles are usually the ones that that aren't immediately sold out because nobody wants to spend $500.
And I mean, like, let's be honest, the rabid fans who weren't able to get one probably have one by now.
Yeah.
So your competition is going to be a little less fierce.
And Nintendo, has recently said that they are increasing their production. I don't know why they weren't increasing their production a long time ago. I guess they just wanted to see how well this thing would actually sell before they actually put money in it. But they promised to ship out more via air. So hopefully people can get a Switch now. It sucks that this console is so great and it's out right now, but nobody can get it. Nobody can get their hands on it, and that really sucks.
Well, I mean, the console is still selling like crazy, so it's not that nobody can get their hands on it. But
that's true.
It's more so that there's a lot of competition for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interest for the console, and the supply has thus far been nowhere near good enough to meet the demand.
I agree.
All right, after that, BioWare has announced, sadly, that it will put Mass Effect on hold indefinitely in the near future.
I'm happy
the company
about
states
this.
That you're not happy, or you are?
I am happy about this.
Interesting. Same. The company states that they are looking to focus on their new IP, and sources state that it's delayed due to Andromeda's development and will launch in 2019. And that has been in development since 2012. So you say you're happy about this. Can you explain?
I just feel like there needs to be a break. Like, the Mass Effect series, I mean, let's be fair. In terms of story, like, there's been, like, 2 great Mass Effects, and Andromeda is kind of, like, teetering on the edge of okay. To be fair, I have never played this game. I've just read a bunch of reviews. So I feel like if they took a break and then came back to it fresh, they'd probably be able to make a much better product.
Here's my thing with it. This is undoubtedly because of Andromeda's underperformance. Like, there's no question about that the reason that they're putting Mass Effect on hold is because Andromeda did not do very well.
Exactly.
Did not do very well at all. Also, John, I appreciate the fight money link there, but this is Nate's YouTube channel, so my fight money. But yeah, it's undoubtedly due to Andromeda. Remember, the last Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012. That was 5 years ago. This game was supposed to be their big, new, fresh start IP because it's not really connected at all to the old Mass Effect games. It was supposed to stand on its own and be its own thing. And really, it's kind of sad because it was under a new development house that really just did not have... it did not have... I won't say the resources because there was a lot of money behind this game. It did not have the expertise necessary to fix some of the issues that they had in the game. Because remember, it's not a terrible game. It's mostly an all right game, like a pretty good game, just with some real issues in the animation department and a few other things. Like, it's almost like they didn't do any super in-depth beta testing for some of the stuff that was going on in there.
It feels like it was rushed out to the door.
It was rushed. It was absolutely rushed out of the door. And it's kind of sad that because of the way its initial launch was, because they have gone back and retroactively fixed a lot of the issues that the game had, and it's a much better game now than it was on day one launch. It's kind of sad that by putting Mass Effect on hold now, they're basically saying, okay, I can't remember what studio devved Andromeda, but they're basically saying, okay, to timeout you go. Rip.
Yeah, basically. That I'm not happy about, but like at the same time, I really feel like, much like Assassin's Creed, like, and maybe Far Cry, there's just too much clutter. They need to just like take a break and come back to it when they're feeling really motivated and passionate.
Because I guess that's what we'll have to see.
That's what brought about Mass Effect in the first place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure BioWare has been the dev. I mean, I think EA is the publisher, right?
It is BioWare, but it's
BioWare. I think Montreal.
Yeah, one of their smaller dev houses.
Yeah, their new title, from what their executives were saying, is not an RPG focused game. It's an action adventure type game. From what the executives were saying, they're wanting to take a step into other genres. And granted, this game has been in development since 2012, since the end of Mass Effect 3. But because fans wanted a follow-up after Mass Effect's 3 ending was so, let's say, questionable, let's say maybe burger would be a good descriptive term. They had to come back and do this for the fans. So they did this, and I feel like now it's more so because they had to take time out to develop Andromeda, more so than Andromeda not doing well. I feel like Andromeda was their last Mass Effect for a while, regardless, and they really want to get to this new IP as fast as they can. I mean, it's been in development for 5 years. If you've had something that long in development, you want to finish it. You want to get back to it. And saying that Mass Effect is going to be on hold doesn't mean they're going to like take away some of the patches and updates for it. I'm pretty sure the game's still going to get patches and updates because, well, it still needs some. But I feel like their focus is shifting, which is good because this game has been, again, in development for 5 years. You want to get that content out to people, and you want to take a step into other genres. So it's good for BioWare to make that choice and make that that I guess leap into a new market, which is what some devs need to do. Take a step away and go into something that you're not familiar with, and hopefully their new IP does well. I haven't played like Mass Effect. I haven't played the new one, and the last one I played was 3. Partly because, well, I was getting kind of tired of it, and for BioWare to come out and say, "Hey, we're making something new," I'm interested, honestly, because I, again, kind of got tired of Mass Effect, and I wanted to see something brand new from them.
I can agree with most of that. I think I don't believe that this was meant to be a one-off thing. I think it's fairly obvious if you see some of the story elements in there and the advertising and certainly the ending. It was meant to start off a new trilogy. I think there's no question it was meant to start off its own thing. And that's just kind of been nipped in the bud. But the rest of that I can agree with. I'm not mad about BioWare moving on to new IPs and working on other franchises. Yo, give me another KOTOR game. Not an MMO, but an actual Knights of the Old Republic or Star Wars RPG.
Sean, please, we all know what franchise we want BioWare to bring back. Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. Duh.
That game died with the DS. No.
That game died before it was birthed.
We don't speak of that. We don't speak of that thing. But you know what we do speak of? Unfounded rumors that we really, really wish were true. And for our final bit of news this week, there are rumors swirling, as they have been swirling for the past 3 years, that Metroid Prime 4 is in development for the Nintendo Switch. This has been a long time coming. There's been tons of hints over the past few years. And these rumors are recently swirling once again as Deus Ex composer Alexander Brandon announced that he's working with Retro Studios on an upcoming project. Retro has been in a development cycle since basically 2013 and stated that the game will feature a brand new engine. And of course, they've been posting like weird little things on their Retro Studios Twitter account. Like John linked us of scrambled words like patience and prime rib at barbecues and whatnot.
A lot of prime rib, fam.
It's good. It's good. It's succulent. Falls off the bone.
So you guys better know that the game they're working on is Mario Teaches Typing 3.
No, it's actually Donkey Kong Tropical Breeze 3. Skipping 2 and going straight to 3.
The thing about Retro is that they've been working on this title since late 2013.
2012, actually.
No, Tropical Freeze launched in 2014.
Yeah, and they announced back in 2012 that they had another project in the pipeline.
Oh, so they have been working on that.
Maybe actual development started late 2013.
Yeah,
they were announcing stuff aside from Donkey Kong like way back in 2012.
But for them to or for the Deus Ex composer to come out and say, "Hey, I'm working with Retro," raises a lot of red flags. Boys, we're getting it.
Deus Ex music doesn't go with Donkey Kong.
Hell no.
It goes with crazy Alex Jones conspiracy theory stuff, and that's
not David
Metroid
Wise.
Prime.
That's not
that ain't David Wise.
Okay,
so yeah,
just just to cover all of our bases, if they were developing something other than Metroid, like the 100 to 1 odd chance that they're developing another IP, what would you hope it is?
Well, if it's a new IP, then we would have no idea. But if it's another IP, like another already established IP, for Retro Studios, oh gosh,
Because I mean, like with this pedigree, it could be something like F-Zero, maybe.
I feel like F-Zero would be left to Sega, like
yeah,
they
that's
did
fair.
with GX.
What about that old game that they showed off at, like, was it E3 2000 or 2002, 2001? It was called like something Raven, but they had to scrap it because they had to shift their focus onto Metroid Prime, I think. There was like some scrapped IP that they were working on way back in the day.
Raven Blade?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. They could be developing that again, or maybe it's just
it was an RPG, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an RPG.
It's like an old GameCube RPG.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could certainly be that. I would like to see their new stuff. I see Duke in the chat saying, please, F-Zero, man. I would love it if we got a new F-Zero, but I would prefer if it was like a hybrid F-Zero where the racing sections were done by Sega, just like they were with GX. And then like the other half of the game was a third-person action style, like spectacle beat 'em up, like Bayonetta, done by Platinum.
Shut your mouth, dude.
Done by Platinum.
You can't.
That's what F-Zero needs to be.
You can't. Oh my god! And then there's sequences where like they're in the race, and then there's a straightaway, and the only thing that's left to do is pull the cars up next to each other and get out on top and fight on top of the cars.
That's the boss battle between Samurai Goro and Captain Falcon. They're racing through a canyon, and they get crossed up in like a narrow ledge, and they get out and they're fighting each other, and it's yes.
Damn!
That is what I have wanted for a long time. Just Sega to make the racing sections of the game so it still has like, your Grand Prix, your multiplayer races and stuff. And then like a third-person platinum-debbed Bayonetta Devil May Cry style beat-em-up action spectacle fighter, because that would be the greatest thing ever. Especially with Platinum behind it. Oh my gosh, that'd be the best. But Nintendo doesn't like money. They hate their fame. So rest in peace. But yeah, there are rumors about Metroid Prime 4. They've been hinting at Metroid for years. Years they have been hinting at it. They gave us a real cock block in 2012 when they said, yeah, we're working on something everybody wants us to do. And everybody was like, Metroid? Retro Studios Metroid? And then Retro was like, nah, man, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And I was like,
yeah.
All right.
I think it's also Retro usually works with the SPD, right? They usually work with them on basically all of their projects. So I don't know if they worked with them on Donkey Kong, but I know they worked with them on Metroid.
Yeah.
And I think it was confirmed that the SPD group is working with them on this project as well.
Big. I need it. I need Metroid Prime 4. Samus has been waiting too long.
I could be wrong, and SPD could have worked on the Donkey Kong games as well. But judging from all the signs,
I could be wrong.
There is hope, but
I doubt it. Look, they have been ignoring Samus and Metroid for too long. They didn't say happy birthday to her. They didn't acknowledge the 20th anniversary for her. It's time.
I don't know if you guys saw a picture floating around Twitter. It was like Samus Aran waking up from a coma. It's like, I've been asleep for 10 years. I can't wait to play all the Metroid games that have come out.
Rip.
I saw that and I just got sad. I was like, oh no.
Fusion was the last canon Metroid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the final canon Metroid.
I'm so glad that Other M was confirmed non-canon.
Who confirmed that?
I'm pretty sure Nintendo did, didn't they?
No. Where did you see that?
In my dreams.
The baby.
Okay,
the baby.
Somebody in the chat, do this homework for us. I'm begging you. Find out if Metroid Other M is legitimately canon.
You'll find so many fans just saying, no, it's not.
I bet you anything you'll find a ton of protests
never happened.
and signed petitions, but perhaps not. Legit. Yeah, Nintendo's never really given a crap about canon. I think Zelda is the only one, and they were pretty much strong-armed into caring.
And even then, their canon doesn't make
their canon does not make sense.
But either way, I am very excited about the prospect of a new Metroid Prime game or a Metroid anything at this point. I would love another 2D, Metroidvania game. I think that would be fantastic.
Please.
But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. I've got high hopes, though. High hopes. We'll undoubtedly learn if they've got anything in the pipeline at E3 this year.
I mean, you totally want Federation Force 2, don't you?
Federation Force wasn't even a bad game. They just did a bad job marketing that game.
Yeah.
Their marketing was a mistake. And you know what? That's an L that they have to accept and hold because they messed up. Nintendo messed up on that game. But all right, that's pretty much it for the news stories. Was there anything else you guys wanted to cover this week?
No, I was actually going to suggest that we abandon the rest of the podcast and just talk about Metroid.
I mean, Metroid's good. We need another Metroidvania game because, Konami's burger and they have abandoned Castlevania.
Yeah, he's off making his own game.
By the way, I hope we get to see some of that this year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What is it called? It's Blood something, I think.
Bloodstained.
Yeah.
I haven't checked out their YouTube channel in a while, but they used to give like weekly or monthly updates on the development of the game. Last I checked, everything was going well, so
They sent a build to the Super Best Friends. I
think it's slated for next year, actually.
Okay, as long as it's happening, because Castlevania seems to have abandoned classic Metroidvania style Castlevanias, and I'm sad about that because those games are always so good.
The last one was Rebirth, right? The last one,
something like that. Yeah, I mean, unless you count Harmony of Despair, which was the PS3 game. Which it was basically a multiplayer game where you were put on a bunch of Castlevania maps. You could go around. It was really fun because it was like a more streamlined Metroidvania game. There were weapons and stuff that you could earn and armor that you could get to build up characters. And you could play as a bunch of different characters from Castlevania history. It was really, really good and really, really fun. And I always wish they would have brought a second version of that out.
Does anyone count Lords of Shadow here?
No. That's not a Castlevania game.
That was God of War with a Castlevania.
First one was okay. First one I didn't mind. I didn't mind the first one.
It wasn't bad. It's just not a Castlevania.
Going back to what you were saying before, Sean, like I don't really feel like Konami necessarily abandoned Metroidvania. I feel like gamers abandoned Metroidvania because there have been a lot of like indie attempts. Like there was Crazy Twisted Shadow Planet and there were a bunch more. It's like Axiom Verge or something.
Well, I mean, but a lot of them have also done really well. Yeah, and Axiom Verge is critically acclaimed. Another one is
they're well reviewed but poorly bought. Like, has anybody like talked about the success of those games? Like, from what I understand, like they just did not sell very well.
I would need to look up the sales numbers for them. I know another one that did really well was oh my gosh, it was that Luchador game.
Oh, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
Guacamelee. That one did really well.
That was
basically a Metroidvania, a really, really fun Metroidvania. But I don't know. I think that's the kind of game that would do really, really well on the Nintendo Switch. Really well on the Switch. I think the Switch is a perfect console for that sort of thing. And thankfully, the Switch is looking like it's going to be the definitive home for indie games. I don't know how Nintendo was able to competently steal that away from Microsoft, but good on them. And a lot of indie games utilize, by the way, everybody who's watching the podcast right now live, you're about to see the sexiest woman in Breath of the Wild, bar none. But a lot of indie games like to utilize, to model themselves after Metroidvania. So hopefully we get a lot of those on the Switch because I could see it as being a great console for it.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's pretty much a good stopping place for this week's episode of the podcast. What about you guys? You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we got everything covered.
My disappointment.
Good.
And I'm just a broken man who just wants Metroid Prime. I'm just a broken man, Sean. Send help.
You are.
Samus hurt me deep, fam.
She did when she left. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And she's been gone for like a decade. Rip.
Feels bad, man.
It does. But, I mean, I really hope those rumors are true, because Metroid Prime would be, I'll just go ahead and lay out the pipe dream. I really hope that these two rumors are true. And they've both been things that have been rumored for like the last 5 years. One, I hope Metroid Prime 4 is an actual thing. I really hope it's going to be real. Two, I really hope the Nintendo VR thing is real, because that could be perfect for the Nintendo Switch, as long as they make a headset that doesn't, scratch up your screen or overheat or anything like that. And I would love to see the two like coincide. I would love to see a VR Metroid Prime game.
Boys, what if the $90 price tag for the dock means it has like a sturdy holder on like the VR? You're like wearing the dock.
Hook the dock up to it. There you go.
I'm wearing the dock on my dome.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. There's talks that Nintendo's going to be releasing a standalone dock in Europe, and there's a rumor that it's going to be fairly cheap.
Yeah, better than the $90 you have to spend for this freaking thing right now. There's still no excuse for that. There is no excuse for this. I have looked inside this thing. There is no excuse for the Nintendo Switch dock to sell for $90.
There's none. It's a hunk of plastic with an HDMI out.
It's a hunk of plastic with like 3 USB ports and an HDMI out. Actually, is it even 3 or is it 2?
It's 2.
2 USB ports and an HDMI out. That is $25 at the moment. $25. But
what do you mean?
Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully they figure that out and lower that price a bit, because it's absolutely unknown. But all right, I think that's a good stopping place for now. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching or listening to the EoTW podcast, episode 38. Before we wrap it up and get on out of here, we will let you guys know where you can find us across the internet and what we've got going on this week. Since his is always the most hilarious, John, where you at, man? Where can people find you?
I haven't had time to think about it. Go to Nate.
No, see, you guys, that's actually his Twitter handle. I haven't had time to think about it, so go to Nate at.
You can find him on Twitter at I haven't had time to think about it. Go to Nate.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Only the dankest memes, and you'll be around this week for discussions about the Destiny 2 stuff, right?
No, I'm just gonna be MIA for the entire week.
Okay, cool. This makes less work for me then. Neat.
True.
I'll take that.
You right.
You right. Yeah, you right.
Yeah, I'll be around.
But right on. So we can have a little bit of a discussion video about what we learned for Destiny 2, because I'm assuming we're going to get a decent live stream.
Nate, rip to your boomerang.
Yeah, rip to your boomerang. You'll never get it back. You weren't worthy of it. You don't deserve that boomerang. Although
Joke's
I think it's in the water there.
I already found it.
Oh yeah, rip. But additionally, we've got discussion videos for Destiny 2 coming up this week. That should be fun. A lot of stuff to cover. Can't wait to see the gameplay. Oh my god, I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be big stuff.
Let me see it.
But all right, Nate, where can they find you? What have you got coming up?
You can find me right here on this YouTube channel if you're watching our live stream. You can also find me right here on this Twitch page if you're watching our live stream. And you can also find me right here on the internet if you're on the internet. And you can also find me at Nate_Donahue on Twitter if you would like updates on my future streams.
His name is Hunt Artist. What are you going to be playing this week, man?
More of Little Nightmares and a lot more of... oh my god, the name is completely escaping me. I hate this.
Night in the Woods?
Night in the Woods, thank you. God.
I got you, fam.
Thank you.
You should do a review video for Little Nightmares, because it's hot right now.
I've been putting thought into it, like maybe just like doing a review stream for Night in the Woods and Little Nightmare when I'm done.
I say do it, man. I'd do it. You have the technology.
Do it.
Also, that fish came to you and then like hit the wall. That was, that was strange. Not sure what's going on there. But all right, as for me, you guys know you can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at TheBlackLink, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all at TheBlackLink. This week, no YouTube streams, as you guys know, for the usual shenanigans, but we will be having some Twitch streams going up. I'm going to be doing my next Breath of the Wild stream, if not today, and today being Saturday, May 13th, 2017, then maybe on Sunday, the day after May 14th. Going to be starting up some story stuff finally, because like I said, I've got the Master Sword. I am super overpowered, and I am ready to body bag all of those dungeons.
Hey Sean,
so that should be a lot of fun. Yep.
Do you want to hijack my channel for a bit until you get your channel back?
I mean, I can still stream to Twitch. It's just my YouTube. I can't stream on there until the end of this coming week.
Well, you are more than welcome to borrow my channel if you need to.
Well, right on. Thank you for the offer, man. I might have to hit you up on that.
Cool.
But additionally, we've got a lot of stuff coming up for Planet Destiny this week. This is going to be a very big week for the Planet Destiny channel. We've got a lot of news to cover with Destiny 2 and stuff like that. We've got our usual streams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Going to be doing some featured raids, some nightfalls, and whatever else we can think of. Although we might not have a stream on Wednesday, because Wednesday there is going to be maintenance for Destiny. It's probably going to be down, so we might just substitute that with like a Zelda stream or something like that. But anyways, you guys can find me everywhere at TheBlackLink. We've got a ton of great stuff coming out. I hope you guys enjoy it. But all right, that's pretty much going to be it for today's live stream. Thanks so much for watching once again. This has been the EoTW Podcast, episode 38, where every day is the end of the week. Got a lot of stuff to look forward to. The month of May is already half done. It's already half done. And we're almost there. We're almost at E3. Cannot wait for that. I'm so psyched for it. But we're out for now. We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching, and we love your faces.
See ya.
Deuces. All right. That is, you can